prepare yourself, not in fear, but with awareness. Because what's unfolding right now in the cosmos is not only rare, it's profound. It's the kind of energetic shift that happens maybe once in a decade, and yet it holds the power to alter the course of everything, from your internal world to the relationships and dynamics that orbit your daily life. But here's the truth. If you're not grounded, if you're not centered in who you are and what you're becoming, this moment can pull you into emotional turbulence you're not yet ready to face. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because it's activating you. And activation always comes with a cost. See, not every person who shares your space is meant to walk with you through every elevation. Some are only meant to witness a chapter, not the whole story. And right now, the energies at play are revealing that reality with a sharp clarity. As 6 powerful planets, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, align in a rare cosmic choreography, the implications reach far beyond stargazing or astrology. This isn't just something happening out there in the heavens. It's happening right here, in your body, in your psyche, in your relationships. It's stirring the unseen forces within us all, especially within those closest to you. We're taught to believe that family, longtime friends, partners, those in our so-called inner circle, are automatically meant to rise with us. That closeness equals alignment. But this moment is unraveling that belief. Because what's happening beneath the surface is a deep energetic sorting, a reconfiguration. The planetary alignment is not just a spectacle, it's a mirror, and it's reflecting the truth of every bond, every attachment, every intention. Some connections will thrive in this light. Others will falter under the weight of what's been left unsaid or unhealed. The truth is, this alignment doesn't ask permission. It doesn't wait until we're ready. It just arrives, like a tide, like a storm, like a revelation, pulling everything to the surface. It brings clarity, yes, but it also brings confrontation. Weak links in relationships will begin to feel tense. Suppressed emotions won't stay buried. Frustrations, fears, insecurities, everything that's been shoved into the shadows, it's all coming up. Not to punish, but to be seen, to be reckoned with, to be released or healed. And depending on how much inner work someone has done, that reckoning will either look like evolution or eruption. You might notice that people around you are reacting more intensely than usual. Maybe you're even feeling it yourself. That strange emotional static, the rising pressure, a sense that something is coming to a head. For some, it will show up as an unexplained heaviness, an unshakable mood, or sudden irritability. For others, it might feel like walking through fog, unable to ground, unable to explain why the world feels a little tilted. Most will write it off as bad sleep or stress. But timing this precise is never random. The alignment is real, and it doesn't need your belief to influence your nervous system, your heart, your mind. That's why dismissing it won't protect you. It's like ignoring a wave and expecting not to get wet. Even the skeptics will feel it, their minds may reject the concept, but their bodies will tell another story. And if you're paying attention, you'll see it. People's wounds are rising to the surface. Emotions are cracking open. Relationships are revealing their true structure or lack thereof. But here's the thing, and it's important. Not everyone will experience this moment the same way. This planetary alignment is not just a celestial event. It's a dividing line, a spiritual sorting. For those who have been doing the inner work, the quiet, painful, necessary excavation of trauma, shadow, and illusion, this moment will feel different. These individuals will feel clearer, more directed. It's like suddenly, what was once uncertain becomes illuminated. The fog lifts, and there's this unshakable sense of, this is where I'm going. They'll feel lighter, freer, even energized by the shift. But for others, for those who've avoided their pain, who've denied their truth, who've silenced their intuition and buried their emotions, this moment may feel chaotic, volatile, even threatening. And not just to themselves, but to those around them. Because when internal pressure builds with no release, it seeks an outlet. And that outlet often becomes the person who shines the brightest light. The one who carries clarity, peace, healing, all the things they haven't allowed themselves to touch. And that's you. Someone still stuck in avoidance or denial, your presence becomes uncomfortable. Your growth reminds them of their stagnation. Your authenticity feels like exposure. So their pain, unable to be processed inwardly, gets projected outward, often at the very people trying to rise. This is why today especially boundaries are not only important, they are essential. Distance from others isn't always abandonment. Sometimes it's self-preservation. Sometimes stepping back is the only way to step forward. This isn't about cutting people off in bitterness. It's about honoring your energy in a time when the energetic field is volatile. Think of it as spiritual self-defense, not from people, but from the energy they may be unconsciously carrying. And remember this, not all attacks are personal. Many are just misdirected cries for help, born from the discomfort of unhealed wounds. That doesn't mean you have to hold space for everyone. You're not obligated to carry what isn't yours. Let this alignment remind you of that. Let it give you permission to create the space you need to breathe, to recalibrate, to protect the version of yourself you've worked so hard to become. This moment, this rare celestial event, is not just a disruption. It's a doorway. And what lies beyond it depends on how willing you are to walk through it with open eyes, steady feet, and an unwavering commitment to your own evolution. Because while not everyone around you is meant to survive your next ascension, you're meant to rise, not with guilt, not with apology, but with grace, discernment, and the quiet strength of someone who knows exactly who they're becoming. When the sky begins to press down with this kind of cosmic intensity, it's not your responsibility to absorb the emotional weight others haven't yet learned to carry. It was never your job to be the container for someone else's unprocessed wounds. And yet, if you're not careful, that's exactly what can happen. Energetic sensitivity can make you a magnet, not just for connection, but for projection. And during times like this, when planetary forces stretch our emotional thresholds thin, the projections become louder, sharper, more unavoidable. Right now, Jupiter, the planet of truth, expansion, and exposure, has stepped onto the cosmic stage with the force of a spotlight that doesn't dim. Jupiter isn't subtle. It doesn't hint. It declares. It doesn't just uncover the truth. It magnifies it until it fills the room. Things you were able to ignore before are now sitting in the center of your awareness. Too obvious to look away from. Too loud to dismiss. This planet doesn't whisper. It shouts. And in this moment, it's acting like a floodlight trained on the darkest corners of your life, your relationships, and even your own psyche. Under Jupiter's influence, hidden emotions grow larger. Quiet resentment echoes louder. People's true intentions, whether supportive or secretly envious, become painfully clear. Maybe you notice it in what someone doesn't say. You share a win, and instead of warmth or joy, there's an awkward silence. A subtle shift in tone. An offbeat change of subject. Or maybe the clues are even quieter. The friend who once checked in regularly now grows distant, their presence pulling away like a tide. These are not coincidences. This is Jupiter's way of illuminating energy that has long been lurking beneath surface-level politeness. It's not creating the discomfort. It's just revealing what was already there. Only now it can't hide. The deeper truth is this: not everyone in your circle has the emotional capacity to celebrate your growth. Some are cheering with their words, but seething with their spirit. And Jupiter, with its unrelenting clarity, is removing their camouflage. As you rise, as you expand, as your light becomes more radiant, that brilliance disrupts the comfort of those still living in shadows. Your success forces them to confront their stagnation. Your healing reminds them of wounds they've refused to address. And without even trying, you become a mirror, not of what they are, but of what they're not ready to become. This isn't meant to make you paranoid, but conscious. Because reactions, especially the subtle, quiet ones, are telling. People's responses to your light are roadmaps to their own darkness. What they celebrate or sabotage, what they support or retreat from. It all reveals their alignment. It shows you who is standing with your soul and who is only standing near your shine. This isn't betrayal. It's revelation. Jupiter's role here isn't cruelty. It's clarity. It's the great separator of false from real, of surface-level connection from soul-deep truth. It pulls the masks from those who use performance to maintain proximity. And while that may sting, it's ultimately a gift. Because when you finally see things clearly, you can no longer be manipulated by illusions. You don't need to second-guess the vibe. You simply trust what your body already knows. And this brings us to Venus, the planet of love, value, and emotional integrity. Under normal skies, Venus can feel gentle, graceful, even romantic. But not in this alignment. Not with this intensity. Venus, now amplified by the collective planetary pull, is acting more like an X-ray. It's not soft and forgiving. It's sharp. It slices through delusions, especially in the areas we often protect most. Love, loyalty, emotional safety. You'll find yourself suddenly, almost uncomfortably, aware of who actually loves you, not for what you provide, but for who you truly are. And that awareness can hurt, because your heart already knows the truth, even when your mind tries to rationalize or soften it. And under this influence, the heart becomes unwilling to ignore what it once tolerated. You may find your emotions swinging, tears one moment, numbness the next. You might feel conflicted, caught between compassion and exhaustion. But this isn't emotional instability. It's realignment. Venus is recalibrating your emotional frequency, clearing the signal so you can finally hear your own inner voice without all the interference. As you shift, others feel it, especially those who benefited from the old, more accommodating version of you. You may notice some people becoming clingy, needy, desperate to anchor themselves to the person you no longer are. Others may turn manipulative, weaponizing guilt or shame to reel you back into emotional roles you've outgrown. They may not say it out loud, but their energy screams, "Come back to who you were. That version was easier for me to control." This is the energetic tipping point. The more aligned you become, the more disruptive your presence is to those who've built lives around inauthenticity. And that discomfort, it's theirs to sit with, not yours to solve. One of the clearest signs that Venus is doing her work is this. People who used to leave you feeling full now leave you feeling drained. That's not you becoming bitter. That's your heart becoming wise. When love is genuine, it uplifts. When it's not, it siphons your energy. Venus is showing you the difference in real time, so if your body is reacting more strongly than usual, if you're sensing subtle shifts, picking up on undercurrents, feeling things you can't quite explain, trust it. You are not too sensitive. You are finally sensitive enough to notice what you've long ignored. And that's not weakness. That's awakening. This is what happens when you no longer live in emotional denial. Your nervous system becomes a compass. Your intuition becomes sharper than logic. You don't need proof, you just know. The room feels off. That's real. Someone's energy pulls at you even though their words are kind. Trust it. The people you used to blend with now feel heavy, confusing, distant. That's your vibration shifting. You're not imagining things. You're evolving. This planetary alignment, 6 powerful celestial forces pulling in unison, isn't just shaping the sky. It's reshaping you. And no, the world hasn't suddenly gotten darker. The people around you haven't suddenly changed overnight. You've simply raised your frequency high enough to notice what was always there, but never fully seen. You're more aware now. And awareness is irreversible. So move with discernment. Trust your instincts, even when they contradict what you wish were true. Let this moment refine your circle, your emotional boundaries, your energetic clarity. You're not here to convince anyone of your worth or your growth. You're here to honor it. And that means accepting when others can't or won't rise with you, because your light is no longer negotiable. Your peace is no longer optional. And your evolution, it's not waiting for anyone to catch up. There comes a moment on the journey of self-evolution when the familiar no longer feels safe, not because it's overtly harmful, but because your system no longer tolerates what it once normalized. The same old conversations, the same recycled excuses, the same emotional patterns, things you once brushed off without a second thought, suddenly feel heavy, even toxic. It's not that the world around you changed overnight. It's that you did. When your awareness rises, when your consciousness upgrades, even subtly, your perception sharpens. What used to slip under your radar now rings loud in your body. Words that once sounded comforting now feel manipulative. Behaviors you used to excuse now feel intolerable. And that shift doesn't make you cold. It doesn't make you distant or dramatic. It makes you honest. It makes you real. Because what's happening isn't rejection. It's energetic detox. Your spirit is cleansing. Your nervous system is recalibrating. You're not abandoning anyone. You're simply no longer willing to carry emotional toxins under the label of loyalty. What used to pass as love might now register as control. What once felt like friendship may now feel like an energetic leash around your neck. And that dissonance creates a physical response, an ache, heaviness, a subtle pull inward. This is why you crave solitude. Why the chaos of social environments suddenly feels unbearable. It's not loneliness. It's realignment. It's not avoidance. It's preservation. You are not running away from connection. You are running toward clarity. You are tuning out the noise so you can hear your soul without interference. Because while you've been growing, others around you may have remained in stasis. To them, everything is the same, They still talk the same way, repeat the same cycles, operate from the same emotional playbook. But to you, it all feels different. Heavier, slower, louder. Their emotional patterns begin to feel like echoes from a version of reality you no longer live in. Their projections don't stick like they used to. Their games don't engage you anymore. It's not judgment. It's not superiority. It's simply vibrational misalignment. And that's the hardest part, recognizing that you've become the variable while they've remained the constant. You're awake in a room full of people still dreaming, and their dreams are noisy. The illusions they cling to rattle like chains. And while they can't feel the distortion, you can feel every frequency that clashes with your own. So the distance you seek isn't a wall, it's a boundary. It's not cruelty. It's medicine. It's not disconnection. It's protection for the self you're stepping into, because closeness with the wrong energy, when your awareness is this high, doesn't just feel uncomfortable, it feels dangerous. And the universe, right now, is reinforcing that truth. Saturn is present. And Saturn doesn't play. In this rare and powerful planetary alignment, Saturn isn't just showing up as another celestial influence. It's the hand moving the pieces on the board. Saturn is structure. Saturn is time. Saturn is karma, not the abstract, mystical version, but the kind that shows up in the tangible corners of your life. It is the enforcer, the revealer, the sacred taskmaster that demands you either build with integrity or prepare to rebuild from rubble. Right now, Saturn isn't interested in your intentions. It's interested in your foundation. Have you really been walking your talk? Or have you just been speaking the words? Are your habits reflecting the future you claim to want? Or have you been procrastinating your potential? For those who've been avoiding their own truth, hiding behind distractions, delaying their purpose, softening the voice of their intuition, Saturn steps in today like a mirror that doesn't distort. It doesn't offer escape. It offers confrontation. If there are corners of your life where you've been pretending, Saturn will spotlight them. If there are responsibilities you've been dodging, Saturn will lay them in front of you, heavy and undeniable. And yes, it might feel overwhelming, like everything you've been postponing suddenly arrives all at once. You may notice sudden endings, breakdowns or blocks, relationships hitting a wall, goals losing momentum, commitments falling through. But this is not punishment. Saturn isn't cruel. It's exact. It's precise. It doesn't ask if you're ready. It asks if you're real. It doesn't block the path to test your faith. It blocks the illusion so you don't continue building your future on sand. Saturn is the spiritual architect that inspects your structure before it lets you build higher. For those who've done the deep work, who've shown up in discipline, who've taken accountability, who've walked with integrity even when it was hard, Saturn brings reward. Not necessarily in the form of material gain, but in something more valuable, unshakable clarity, solid ground, the end of confusion. You know where you stand. You know what's real. You know who you are. That kind of certainty isn't bought, it's earned. But for those who have tried to bypass the inner work, who've chosen image over truth, convenience over consistency, comfort over growth, Saturn arrives like an earthquake. It doesn't destroy to be cruel. It clears what was never going to last. The tower falls. The facade crumbles. The mask slips. Not because you're cursed, but because the universe loves you too much to let you keep living inside a lie. Saturn doesn't want your pain, it wants your truth. And the truth is, you cannot carry falsehood into your future. You cannot ascend with dead weight strapped to your back. You cannot ask the universe to bless a version of yourself you know isn't honest. So if today feels heavy, if your emotions feel exposed, if you're noticing sharp shifts in relationships, career paths, or even your own identity, understand this. It's not destruction. It's divine disruption. You're being aligned, not punished. Cleansed, not cursed. You're being prepared for a life that matches the truth of who you are, not the illusion you once performed. Saturn has no interest in your story, only your substance. No interest in appearances, only alignment. It doesn't care about what you say you want. It cares whether your life reflects that desire. And today, under the weight of 6 powerful planetary forces, Saturn is asking the hardest, most necessary question. Are you ready to rise on a foundation of truth? Or are you still clinging to structures that were never meant to hold your future? Because one thing is certain. No lie, no illusion, no misalignment can survive this kind of cosmic pressure. Not now. Not anymore. This is the reckoning. And the reward. And it begins with your honesty. What you're moving through right now is not a setback. It's not regression. It's the sacred process of releasing what no longer belongs in your body, your energy, or your life. You're not falling apart. You're shedding layers. This is the cleansing of the old, the residue of stories you've outgrown, identities that no longer fit, and energetic weights you didn't even realize you were still carrying. Imagine you spent years walking with a backpack full of stones, memories, expectations, attachments, roles you never asked for. You wore them like armor, not because you wanted to, but because it was what you thought you had to do to survive, to belong, to be loved. And then, finally, you put that burden down. But instead of instant relief, your body aches. Your shoulders throb. Your spine feels sore. That ache is not weakness. It's your system remembering what it feels like to be free. It's the tension of liberation, not the pain of failure. That's where you are now, in the in-between. From August 20th through 22nd, you'll pass through a narrow, energetic threshold that may feel confusing, disorienting, even emotionally overwhelming. You might find yourself questioning everything, your progress, your peace, your clarity. You may think something is wrong, but what you're experiencing is not dysfunction. It's the echo of a cosmic reset. These headaches, the sudden waves of irritability, the nights where sleep feels impossible. This is your field discharging what no longer belongs. Frequencies you've unknowingly adapted to for survival are now being flushed out of your nervous system. Emotional patterns you used to normalize are unraveling. The weight of what you carried is leaving your system, and just like a physical detox, it doesn't always feel pleasant while it's happening. But trust this, on the other side of this passage, clarity awaits. As the fog lifts, you'll begin to realize how much cleaner your internal world has become. Things that used to trigger, you won't have the same access anymore. You'll notice that certain people or thought loops simply can't hook into your energy the way they once did. You're not just thinking differently. You've been rewired. This wasn't just a cosmic event written in the stars. It was an internal reprogramming of your spiritual DNA. This is why the discomfort is proof. It means the process is real. The chaos you feel now is evidence that something profound just shifted. Just like a hangover tells you the party happened, this emotional turbulence is the aftershock of transformation. You are detoxing from versions of yourself that were built for survival, not for truth. You're not going backward. You're shedding the weight that blocked your expansion. And when the dust settles, your light will shine more clearly, more sharply, more unapologetically than it has in years. But here's what makes this time even more intense. Not everyone around you is moving through it with the same awareness. While you're purging and recalibrating, the alignment is also stirring up energy in the people closest to you. It's not that they're toxic by nature. It's that this alignment awakens something primal in everyone, a hunger, a deep, often unconscious craving that bubbles up from unhealed spaces. When 6 powerful planets pull at the energetic fabric of reality all at once, it doesn't just create tension in the stars. It activates dormant appetites in people, and while some use that hunger to grow, others begin to reach, not inward, but outward. They don't know how to generate their own light, so they start reaching for someone else's. Often, that someone is you. You may begin to notice subtle shifts in behavior, a loved one who suddenly needs constant reassurance, a friend who always brings the conversation back to their chaos, a coworker who interrupts your peace with needless drama. These aren't random events. Under this alignment, even the smallest interactions can carry disproportionate weight. Because when people don't know how to sit with their own emptiness, they unconsciously seek out others to fill it for them. Not out of malice, but out of habit. And your energy becomes the offering. This is what we call energetic siphoning, and most of the time it comes from those who have easy access to your inner world. Not strangers, but close ones. People who know how to press your buttons, tap into your empathy, pull on your compassion, play familiar stories that make you feel responsible for their emotional state. Under normal circumstances, you might manage it. But not today. Not in this window. Because the intensity of this alignment supercharges their need and amplifies your sensitivity. What used to feel like mild exhaustion now feels unbearable. What used to pass as emotional closeness now registers as intrusion. And the most dangerous thing about it, the guilt. That subtle, nagging feeling that pulls at you when you try to step back. You don't want to seem cold. You don't want to be the one who pulls away. But guilt is the exact doorway energy parasites walk through. They feed on your hesitation. They thrive on your inability to say no. And under this alignment, your clarity must be stronger than your guilt. Distance, right now, is not selfishness. It's sacred preservation. Every step you take back is a step toward yourself. You're not rejecting anyone. You're refusing to abandon your own healing. And that's the line that must be drawn, because the people who are reaching for your energy, they aren't really reaching for you. They're trying to escape their own reckoning. Saturn is showing them the truth they don't want to face. Venus is highlighting the void in their relationships. Jupiter is exposing their illusions. And instead of turning inward to do the work, they look outward for distraction, for a fix, for your light. But here's the most important truth to remember. You cannot fill what they refuse to face. You could empty yourself, give them your time, your heart, your words, and it still wouldn't be enough. Not because you're not giving enough, but because they're not receiving what's theirs to claim. Until they sit with their own reflection, they'll keep grasping for yours. And if you're not careful, you'll mistake that desperation for love. You'll confuse their panic for connection. But it's not love they want. It's escape, so let this alignment be your permission to detach with compassion. To love from a distance. To stop being the reservoir for someone else's emotional avoidance. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is step back and allow someone to meet themselves. That's not abandonment. That's truth. That's grace. That's what this moment demands. You're not here to be consumed. You're here to embody. To hold your light, not give it away piece by piece until nothing remains. This alignment didn't come to test your boundaries. It came to reinforce them. So honor what you feel. Listen to your body. If something feels off, it is. If someone drains you, believe it. You're not imagining the heaviness. You're finally sensitive enough to sense it. And that's not weakness. That's power. The power to choose what gets your energy. The power to walk away from what no longer resonates. The power to stop pouring into people who need to pour into themselves. Because the truth is, your breakthrough isn't a moment. It's a lifestyle. And this is just the beginning. There comes a moment when the most powerful expression of love is not found in staying close, but in stepping back. In a world that often equates love with constant presence, with doing, with saving, it can feel counterintuitive, even painful, to let go. But today, under the profound and rare force of this six-planet alignment, we are being shown a higher truth. Sometimes love is not found in the grasp, but in the release. This kind of distance is not rejection. It's not abandonment. It's not a wall built from resentment. It's medicine, ancient, sacred, and long overdue. The universe is doing what it always does in moments like this, untangling what has been held together too tightly, too long, too desperately. Not to punish, not to break bonds, but to create space where real healing can finally take root. Because healing doesn't always happen in proximity. Sometimes it requires silence. Sometimes it begins when we stop interrupting the lessons that others need to walk through on their own. Think about it. How many times have you been the one to fix, to soothe, to carry? How many times have you poured yourself out for someone else, believing you were helping, when really, you were shielding them from the very experience their soul came here to meet? This alignment makes such patterns impossible to ignore now. The energetic cost is too high. You'll feel it in your bones, in your nervous system. You'll feel it as burnout, as sudden fatigue, as the unmistakable inner voice whispering, "If I don't step back now, I'll break myself just trying to hold it all together." That voice is not fear. That's your wisdom speaking, because love without boundaries is not love, it's self-erasure. It's the slow disappearance of your own needs, your own center, your own truth. And this alignment is burning away every last trace of that self-abandonment. Not with cruelty, but with clarity. This is the moment when you stop shrinking your light to keep someone else comfortable in their shadow. When you stop carrying what was never yours to hold in the first place. When you realize that letting go isn't the end. It's the beginning. Stepping back does not mean you're cutting someone off from healing. Quite the opposite. You're finally allowing them the dignity of their own becoming. Imagine someone leaning on your energy day after day like a crutch. You hold them up because you care, because you don't want them to fall. But what if in doing so, you've kept them from learning they have legs of their own? The moment you let go, it may feel like you're letting them stumble, but what you're actually doing is giving them the only real chance they've had to discover their strength. And in that same moment, something happens to you. You rise, lighter, clear, whole. You finally remember what it feels like to be in your own energy without being entangled in someone else's emotional gravity. You breathe differently. You move differently. You stop apologizing for protecting your peace. And that, too, is sacred. Distance becomes double medicine. It heals both ends of the thread. It offers you protection while offering them space. It gives your nervous system the break it's been begging for, while giving their soul the chance to finally look inward instead of outward. You're not being heartless. You're trusting in the process. You're releasing the illusion that love has to look like constant sacrifice. Sometimes love is a boundary. Sometimes love is silence. Sometimes love is knowing when to walk away, not forever, but long enough for transformation to occur. This is the higher love the planets are teaching us now, because this alignment isn't about tearing people apart. It's about refinement. It's not destruction, it's purification. It's the cosmic reset button that says, not like this, not anymore. It's burning away the old contracts written in fear, codependency, and emotional obligation. And in their place, it's writing new ones, forged in freedom, integrity, and sovereign truth. You might feel guilt. You might question yourself. But hear this, your absence from someone else's chaos may be the only condition under which they finally begin to seek stillness within. Your refusal to be the emotional bandage may be the only reason they finally look at their wound. That's not abandonment. That's divine trust. You are not their healer. You are not their source. You are the mirror, and right now that mirror is stepping back so they can finally see themselves. And in doing so, you are rising. You're reclaiming your energy, your space, your power. But you're not doing it only for yourself. When one soul elevates, every soul it's connected to feels the ripple. Your healing becomes a signal. Your boundaries become an invitation. Your transformation becomes a map that says, this is possible. You can free yourself too. That is why today feels so intense. Why everything seems to be shifting or unraveling. The old patterns are breaking. The familiar dynamics are dissolving. The ties that once felt comforting now feel constricting. You're not going crazy. You're going clear. The alignment isn't tearing love away from you. It's teaching you how to love in a way that doesn't cost you yourself. And if that means letting go, even temporarily, then let that be your sacred act of trust. Let that be your prayer. Let that be the new language your soul speaks. I will no longer hold what isn't mine. I will no longer betray myself in the name of connection. I will love in a way that liberates, not in a way that drains. This is not the ending. This is the awakening. And if distance is the uncomfortable medicine that gets us there, then let it be taken with reverence, not fear. Because the love that survives this kind of alignment, the love that grows from it, will be stronger, cleaner, and more real than anything that came before. If you're still here, thank you for taking the time to walk through this space of reflection. If this message resonated with you, and you want more content like this, perspectives, insights, truth-telling, I invite you to subscribe. Your support matters more than you know. And if you feel called, share your own experience in the comments. We heal faster when we remember we're not doing this alone. Until next time, honor your truth, protect your light, and walk in clarity. Your soul is speaking. Keep listening.